this is a banger. It is. Here. What's up, chat? Happy Thursday, March 4th, 2021. It is the day before summer break. School's out for summer. But we got to make it through. Make it through the day. Players, questionables, ins, outs, dropping left and right. By the time we get to tip off, things could look very, very last day of the regular season. But everyone is playing off the same deck of cards, right? So we'll do our due diligence, try and get things going, and hopefully land on some plays that we want to stick with. And then, hey, if things change, we're going to be versatile, flexible later on in the day. Make some changes. But it's setting up to be a wild one, a very large slate with a lot of key role players, key usage guys, and key minute guys looking like they could take this one off. We've talked about that the week before the All-Star break. A lot of teams, a lot of load management planners will try and manipulate the All-Star break itself and give guys an opportunity to get longer rest periods during the All-Star break by giving them the game or two before off, and then your week could turn into a week and a half, 2 weeks of rest. So we're seeing that today so far. We saw maybe a little bit of it last night, and it is what it is. We just got to roll with the punches and get on through. We are live on YouTube. Shout out to the live chat. Russ said he's first. Russ did something really cool for the community. We'll break into that probably in this stream sometime. What up, Encore, Ed, Crispy? What's up, Gun? Last slate before the break. Let's make a withdrawal. Yes, sir. Alan Ortega, Sixers exposing Utah. Man, that was a good game. I mean, those are definitely those are two of the best home teams going at it. So Sixers being at home, being able to be full strength with Tobias there, that was big. And then for Joel Embiid to step up the way he did was big for the Sixers. But I think we all know the Sixers have that upside, like the ability to beat the best teams in the league. And the fact that they've kind of fought with and without Embiid against the Jazz should be an encouraging thing going into potential postseason for them. But it has been a lack of consistency for the Sixers, like that. We know what they are at their best, but can they continuously play there? And so far, only the Jazz have really kind of played a season's worth of basketball at their best, it seems like, right? What's up, Justin Sports? Man, I got like cat fur. I guess I put my hoodie on the couch and the cat slept on it, and there's like fur just floating all up on me. So if it looks like I'm tweaking, rubbing my nose throughout the stream, give me a break, okay? It's a cat. I call it the Can't Sue Gundam song, so it's fired. It's called Bones. What's up, German? The slate a day before the break is always a crap show full of landmines. Starters getting pulled earlier than normal and more last-minute subs than usual. You don't have close access to news, risky. Yeah, I would definitely be a little bit more trepidatious with going crazy today if you don't accept the fact that it could be a wild one. Maybe a single entry, a couple bullets here and there, just have something going. Maybe, out of curiosity, maybe this is a good day to explore the tiers, because a lot of tiers might turn into some pick'ems with a lot of news dropping. So you guys not familiar with tiers? Tiers is the category contest that DraftKings has. And usually they post this the night before, early morning of. So there's a good shot that maybe like a lot of guys in these tiers are out. So just out of curiosity, look like they don't have a bunch of contests either. 10K to first, So when this does load, so slow. Tier 1, Jokic, Giannis, Lil Curry. We already know Curry's out, so you have to choose between 3. Tier 2, we got Sabonis queued. Tier 3, we got Kawhi Butler queued. Tier 4, Adebayo queued. Tier 5, everyone's good. Tier 6, Jeremy Grant, questionable. Trade rumors, and Draymond Green out. So, these tiers become a little bit more edgy. I don't say edgy, a little less decisions to make. So maybe try some tiers. You can really put a finite range of outcomes on tonight's chaos by tackling a contest like that. So go check that out. If you guys remember the chaos from last night, we'll briefly discuss some of the big stuff that happened. Joel Embiid, 75 extra innings. Huge game for him. He played 40 minutes, dropped another 40-point double-double. James Harden back in Houston, triple-double. Big game for him. Then T.J. McConnell had a triple-double with steals. 10 steals. Insane game from T.J. McConnell. Just nuts. And they only won by 3. Like there was a period in that game where the Pacers were just getting smacked, and TJ was like a massive part in setting that game straight for the Pacers, getting up there. Depot dropped a near 60 bomb. Steph 57. Colin Sexton, another big real point game out of him. 32 real points and 10 assists. So we're seeing perhaps some evolution out of Sexton's game. Donovan Mitchell, 55 extra innings. So everybody else here was kind of normal. Danilo Gallinari, Clint Capella got rolled out. He ended up playing 39 minutes on a back-to-back here. 23-9, 6 assists, another 50 bomb. That's the second 50 bomb we got out of Gallo in like his last 5 games. Dennis Smith Jr. and Mason Plumlee, both on the Pistons, had triple-doubles, which you don't often see, dueling triple-doubles from a starting point guard center. 27 minutes for DSJ there, 10, 12, 11. And Mason Plumlee picks up his second triple-double of the season in just 28 minutes, 14, 11, and 10. So big-time plays by them. Great pivots to, like, if you took a shot on Dennis Smith Jr., he would have been a pivot to Jalen Brunson, Dennis Schroeder. Huge reward there. And the same with Plumlee. You had to go up there and get him at 7K, but, I mean, he was absolutely fire to have. Kyle Kuzma was questionable throughout the day, didn't play the game prior, so they didn't pick up a ton of ownership, but 25 and 13, a big game out of him. I think if everyone knows that he's active in the morning and ready to go, he's one of the highest owned players, so you kind of got a discount on his ownership if you were able to get to him. Anybody else shocking here? Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell got 33 minutes. I said it on the stream. I said if you could tell me he gets 30 minutes against the Kings, he's probably one of the best plays on the slate. That's exactly what happened. And then no other real big surprises, huh, chat? Anybody that really dossed you? I saw people complaining about Jalen Brunson. I'm not overly I'm not that disappointed in Brunson's score. 27 at 5.3. If you had that, that's not the reason you didn't cash. Certainly more of what was a floor or a median range of outcome. But this was a very low-scoring game. I definitely don't blame Brunson for anything. I think that's just a fine medium game. And you really couldn't have gone super wrong with any of the Mavs players. But because they all kind of went super floor gamey at their price points, maybe a Sansa J. Rich, you really didn't make a lot of noise in tournaments if you were overly dependent on the Mavs stack. But it is what it is. I don't think none of them actually tanked, right? Your TJ Mack went scorched earth, really. Yeah, he went nuts. Absolutely nuts. Sadiq Bey, I think, would be somebody we could point and blame. I did have a decent chunk of Sadiq Bey. I think there wasn't a deep sample size on the Pistons without Grant and Josh Jackson, and what sample size there was, Sadiq Bey looked pretty good in it, but he only played 24 minutes. This was still a pretty diluted rotation, all things considered. And then the Pistons stack, just like, it was hard to get him wrong unless you played Sadiq Bey. Svi Mikalik at 3,200 dropped 28. Saban Lee dropped to 36. Wayne Ellington 36. At one point, the Pistons were just like putting on a 3-point clinic. Wayne went 8 for 11 from downtown. Rodney McGruder 37 and a quarter at min price. Then of course you got the dueling triple doubles from Plumlee and Dennis Smith Jr. And in my opinion, the most incredible thing about these numbers is the fact that none of these guys played over 30 minutes. 27, 28, 26, 26. So they played some inspired basketball. Let's see if they burn people who want to go back to the well tonight. Would not surprise me. Anyway, let's get you kind of caught up on what we are dealing with news-wise. Stuff that's still in the air as of 3 p.m. Eastern, according to Fantasy Labs. Kawhi Leonard, questionable. Marcus Morris, doubtful. Domantas Sabonis, questionable. Jimmy G. Buckets, questionable. Bam Adebayo, Jeremy Grant, Kelly Oubre to be determined. So I guess we'll put them all questionable. Derrick Rose, Elfrid Payton, questionable. And Al Horford, a candidate for rest. Past that, we got Frank Jackson out, Taj Gibson out, Josh Jackson out, Jeremy Lamb queued up. Jeremy Grant is in a couple of trade discussions, and I would probably venture to say that any team interested in trading for Jeremy Grant right now doesn't need to see how he would do tonight. And with the All-Star break coming up, perhaps pressure's on to get some of those deals done sooner than later. Maybe we lean Jeremy Grant being closer to out than in. Draymond and Curry didn't even travel with the team. Aldridge rolled out. That's it so far. Like that's just like in a nutshell what we're dealing with, and I definitely would say prepare and anticipate for more news like that, more ins and outs. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to navigate. I am riding solo, so bear with me. I also am a victim of no caffeine. No bangs in the fridge. We're getting that restocked tonight. Gosh dang it. And then I went to make a cup of coffee. I go to I usually keep the can of Folgers on top of the microwave, and I found it upside down in the sink in a bowl of water, and I was just like, what? And then I picked it up, I opened it, and it's all just like wet, gooey coffee, and that's a bad start to a day, man. No caffeine, so we're drinking God's caffeine, some drinking water. So bear with me as I try to kind of warm up the diesel engine, right? Alan says Olynyk and some money for Grant, please, Riley. Yeah. What's up, WS Solo DZ? You guys doing all right today? Glad to see you guys in chat. Hopefully you guys got some decent plans for this little All-Star break. I'm going to be looking forward to some recharging, By the way, any of you guys that play on Top Shot, there is a staggered pack drop between tonight and tomorrow. So if you didn't know, now you know. If you don't know, now you know. That had to be the cat. Yeah, I was thinking. I don't want to blame the cat. I don't want to blame the cat, but yeah, it's kind of weird that the coffee's just chilling in the thing. But it's fine. I'm a load up on some Bang. But Bang should be here by the time I go to the voice chat or some type of caffeine. What's up, Lorenza? Doing all right? Wife and kids, Nitro Cars. Let's go. TJ, 22 steals tonight, 19 assists. Let's go. All right, game number 1 on the docket. Toronto Raptors up against the Boston Celtics. Project starting 5 for the Raptors: Kyle Lowry, Terrence Davis, Norman Powell, Utah Watanabe, and Aaron Baines. Taking on Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Daniel Tice, and Tristan Thompson. We got a 220.5 total, 8-point spread in favor of the home team Boston Celtics. It is a back-to-back for the Raptors here. Kyle Lowry, he was on pace the first half to be a big regret if you weren't bullish on him, but he actually ended up just being a very average play. Norman Powell was the guy I was most he was the guy who was the second most sought after for me, and my number one guy that I was chasing from the Raptors was Chris Boucher. Boucher ended up not starting, and I think that absolutely jackhammered his ownership because he came in at sub 15% in a lot of my contests, which I thought was a little bit crazy because I figured going into Slate, I figured he'd be one of the highest owned players on the entire night, and that wasn't the case. He ended up with 34.5 fantasy points in 25 minutes. He's a point per minute beast. I actually figured that he might be even a better play off the bench, just a little less usage overlap between the Powell and Lowry, but double-digit shot attempts for him. 2 games against Boston this season, he's averaging 30 fantasy points in 23 minutes. So 66, maybe not a ton of meat on the bone, but he'd be in the player pool nonetheless. And then Norman Powell at 7K. That's an uncomfortable click, but deep minutes projected for him might be able to get you a strong game. On the Celtics side, Kemba, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. I think as large as this slate is, and with this game having the propensity of being a little lopsided, and with the smoke of the All-Star break looming, and maybe you want to get your guys to the showers even sooner, I might be a little low on this game. And I really don't see anyone from the Celtics pending some news that I would want to make it a priority at this stage. I think Tatum, Brown, Kemba, if you got that feeling in your bad knee, go for it. Maybe I'd take a peek at the front court guys. Daniel Tice, 27 minutes on him at 4,900 on FanDuel. Definitely a chip in a chair to get it done over there. And maybe even on DraftKings you could sneak him to a lineup or two. But I don't really have a lot of deep-rooted interest in the Celtics from where I'm sitting at this stage. If the Raptors get even funkier and maybe give Lowry the night off or something like that, definitely would up my propensity to click the plus button next to Norman Powell at 7K. Maybe Terrence Davis picks up some slack that a lot of people were on him last night. And maybe... maybe that's probably I probably don't get to like a Benbury or Stanley at this juncture. Aaron Baines, anybody? No? I'm gonna be drinking more. Let's go. I want to start a new hobby, new drinking hobby. Fun fact, chat. You guys know I've never drank, so one day though. The way things are going, Obi Toppin's going to be in the winning lineup. He just might had all Norman Powell. Yeah, I think Norman Powell is still going to be... He's going to be like Fred VanVleet here, right? If you would love Fred VanVleet in this matchup at 7K, then play Norman Powell because the minutes are going to be deep, and he's probably going to have the same type of shot volume and opportunity that VanVleet would have. But yeah, no warm and fuzzies, no tier 1s from where I'm sitting at this juncture, but I'm definitely penciling Powell and Boucher and waiting on news to develop between now and lock. Wizards hosting the Los Angeles Clippers. Clippers are coming off a game where Kawhi Leonard was ruled out after tip-off, but he wasn't ruled out immediately. He just wasn't starting, but he's not ruled out, guys. So we have a projected lineup today of Patrick Beverley, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Nick Batum, Serge Ibaka taking on Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Garrison Matthews, Rui Hachimura, and Mo Wagner. A 236 is our total, and 5.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Los Angeles Clippers. We'll pull up the injury report on Kawhi Leonard. He is dealing with back spasms. He was a late scratch on Tuesday, which burned a lot of fantasy players. And you have to wonder if the Clippers will be extra cautious with this being the final game before the All-Star break. If he's unable to play, Lou Williams offers considerable upside, and we already know that Marcus Morris, somebody who could also pick up some wing minutes, is doubtful. So with that in mind, this being the first game, one of the first games at the 7 p.m. lock, we should be able to have this news and be able to adjust accordingly. If Kawhi Leonard's out, I definitely think Paul George becomes a tier 1 in all formats. 7,900 on FanDuel, 8,600 on DraftKings. Definitely think 50+ fantasy points is the wave here. And then call me crazy for wanting a shot at Nick Batum at 4,200. If you take out Marcus Morris and Kawhi Leonard, I think there's, at 30 minutes against the Washington Wizards, there's always a chip in a chair for peripherals to kind of get there for you, and the total is decent enough. So I don't hate some value stabs at Batum here. I always like Serge Ibaka in pace-up spots too. So maybe he would benefit from a couple extra minutes. Some of his best games this season, or in the last couple seasons, are against pace-up matchups. A little bit of a price discrepancy between FanDuel and DraftKings. So arguably a better play on DraftKings, and one of those plays you could settle for 25. But we love centers against the Wizards, and I love Ibaka in fast-paced matchups. And the Wizards are one of the fastest-paced teams in the league right now. Patrick Beverley against his old nemesis Russell Westbrook. They do not get along, but Westbrook is on a tear, a big string of 50+ fantasy point performances, looking like vintage Westbrook, and so far this is a slate shaping up to have no shortage of value. So even the 10K plus players, if we can go out there and throw a net over those raw points, 55, 60 fantasy point potential, I'd definitely be a buyer. He just dropped 52.25 on them at LA, which was night 2 of a back-to-back, so a little bit more rest here, potentially for a little bit more efficient game here. They've had 2 days off, so definitely like Westbrook. And then Bradley Beal, Westbrook and Beal handcuff him. Do we get over 100 fantasy points? I definitely think we can, and we have. That game against the Clippers, he dropped 48. So again, you put them together, you got $100 fantasy points smooth off the top. So don't mind that at all. Beal and Westbrook, usually the only two Wizards that I'll flirt with for my player pool. You can make errant cases for like a Davis Bertans to get hot from 3, but I really don't have the warm and fuzzies on anyone else. And Rui Hachimura, even at his price, man, I don't ever feel confident with any of the backup Wizards. We have seen a big game from Garrison Matthews for fantasy in the last couple games, and the same with Bertans. But we got to understand how, or at least accept and concede how volatile they are. So if they end up in your pool, you just have a more risk, diverse approach, and I don't mind that at all. I just think I'm leaning with Westbrook, Beal as my only exposure to the Wizards, and then depending on the Kawhi news, Paul George would be high ranked for me, in Batum, and then also Reggie Jackson is probably way too cheap on DraftKings. Reggie actually started in lieu of Kawhi that last game, and under 4K, he has 10x potential, and this is a matchup that is much softer than the Boston Celtics. So Reggie would also probably be a core value play if that were to come to fruition, that being Kawhi Leonard being out. Someone's at my door. No coffee. Sorry, it happens, Brian. It happens. If Kawhi is out, Reggie Jackson's gonna be nice. Absolutely. Expect Kawhi, Butler, Bam to sit for no reason to play them. Terrence Mann season. Let's go. Julianos is gone. Got me some McConnell in one FanDuel lineup. It got me 361. How the freak did you end up with some TJ McConnell, man? That's insane. Huge game from him. Obviously, you can never, ever predict double-digit steals, but we know TJ McConnell has, I want to say, that type of upside, but that he has that type of ability to be a scrappy peripheral getter. We saw it in Philadelphia, but like it was pretty unexpected considering the Pacers were not short last night, or not shorter than they had been. But yeah, he single-handedly won them that game, because they were getting smacked. So yeah, Clippers, Kawhi news, that's going to be really important. And I think that Kawhi news could be the key to the slate, because like we said, if Kawhi's out, I'm going to need tons of George and Reggie at 3,900 could be the highest owned player on the slate. If we just tail what happened last slate, right? And this is a game that might end up small ball anyway. Detroit Pistons at the New York Knicks. Project starting five for the Pistons: Dennis Smith Jr., Svi Mikhailiuk, Sadiq Bey. Maybe Jeremy Grant is listed as questionable. I should probably just remove him completely. Mason Plumlee. If Grant's out, we'll see Sadiq Bey, maybe Sekou Doumbouya, somebody like that. We also got Josh Jackson out again, DeLon Wright out again. So we'll get more of the same from last night's lineup. On the Knicks side, Derrick Rose, he's questionable. Reggie Bullock, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Nerlens Noel. Derrick Rose, a late scratch on that last slate himself. And we were able to see Frank Ntilikina start. And Frank Ntilikina is questionable. And if Frank Ntilikina can't go, you might see Emmanuel Quickley, Alec Burks, Obi Toppin all kind of benefit from that situation. And we might be able to put 35 minutes on a Burks or a Quickley. And you would think Obi Toppin has a chip in a chair to be a great value play as well. So we need to stay up to date with that information. Let me see if we can get some Derrick Rose information from the injury news and notes. Derrick Rose health and safety protocols listed as questionable. Rose's COVID test ahead of Tuesday's loss to the Spurs came back inconclusive, so he's forced to sit that one out. However, he has produced multiple negative results since then, so it's possible that Rose will be cleared to play Thursday night. It should be noted that the starting point guard, Elfrid Payton, is also questionable. So Rose was only yanked because of a inconclusive COVID test, and the fact and he doesn't have it now. We've seen this with KD, I think, earlier in the season. It seems like he should be good to go, but he's still officially questionable. If Derrick Rose is able to go, a little bit of a revenge game going against his former team, the Detroit Pistons, I would be a buyer into that. We ran this same revenge narrative from both sides a couple weeks ago, where Dennis Smith Jr. was also going against his former team. Maybe this game means a little bit more to him just because it's in the Garden. And after last night, you have to be at least encouraged that the 27-minute that he's been getting in 3 games straight is going to be there again for him today. 30-plus fantasy points in 4 games straight. And I think a lot of people were soured from this game against Orlando, where he was just ultra, mega, super duper chalk. DSJ can be a PPM guy. Last night, he showed he could be a triple-double threat. I'm willing to play him today, but I think at 4.8, you got to realize that the triple-double last night is definitely an anomaly more often than it's not, and that 30 fantasy points is a little bit more of the reasonable expectation, but that 30 fantasy points is really what you need at 4,800, so maybe don't get too ambitious here because the Knicks are still one of the slowest paced teams in the league and one of the better defenses in the league. If we pull up that team metrics chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, sort the pace rating from slowest to fastest, Knicks are the slowest. And then from defensive rating, Knicks have a number 2 defensive rating from my chart yesterday. So if you feel like the field might be a little chasey on DSJ and Mason Plumlee, maybe it's a good step backward spot because I do think the more average range of outcome for Dennis Smith Jr. Is probably 25 to 30, and that's exactly what I would probably need at that price point. So I might look the other way, and we might look at the other point guard in this game, Derrick Rose, coming off a game of rest. Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel, both guys I can get to. 37 minutes on Randle. Chip in a chair for 50-plus fantasy points, probably needed at that price point. And then Nerlens Noel, I don't mind, spinning the wheel, making a deal on him with Taj Gibson down, with Mitchell Robinson down. The minutes are there for him. They're his to lose, as we say. So I don't mind looking at those guys. Do we get too creative with some of the value guys from this Pistons team that went off last night? Wayne Ellington just went bananas from behind the arc. Rodney McGruder hustled his way to a decent game. Not going to go out of my way to push the idea of playing Rodney McGruder, but bare bones min price. If he's going to pick up these minutes, he gets there from doing a little bit of everything. Maybe 14 shot attempts, a little on the high side. Obviously we don't put 129 points on the Pistons today. Probably put 110 on the best case scenario. So maybe we take away half of these real points, 10 real points. But even if it's 10 real points, does that 37 become a 27? Is that still a fine play at 3K? I think so, but I need Jeremy Grant to be out. But with Josh Jackson down, there's plenty of opportunity for that second unit for one guy to step up. And it could be him. It could be Saban Lee again. And yeah, Wayne Ellington just got really, really, really hot from behind the arc. What are you guys doing with this game before we get on to the next one? Nothing. All the point guard plays. Wayne ain't shooting like that again. That was very, very anomalic. That's the word of the day. 207.5 total, by the way. And the Knicks are decent favorites. So I think if you take the blinders from last night off, the average approach to that game, if Jeremy Grant is out, is not expect but 100 points for the Pistons, and probably expect some more medium results, so average results. Nuggets at the Pacers, next game on the docket. Project starting five for the Nuggets: Jamal Murray, Monte Morris, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic taking on Malcolm Brogdon, Justin Holiday, Doug McDermott, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Turner. We got 226.5 total, 4.5 point spread. Favored the Denver Nuggets. Pacers had to scrap and claw and fight for last night's dub, but they got it. Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb go into this game questionable. Sabonis was highly questionable much of yesterday, but ended up playing. Let's see if they opt to sit him on night two of a back-to-back. Sabonis official report says that he played. I got nothing. I got no update. Just that his sore left ankle is having him questionable. Jeremy Lamb has missed some time. He's also questionable. He was able to play yesterday as well, but it's possible that the Pacers simply give him a night off as it's the second game of a back-to-back. So if you get a Lamb out and if you got a Sabonis out, I think those would be thumbs-up boost usage and potential-wise for Malcolm Brogdon. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of people maybe look back at a TJ McConnell. TJ's TJ. If you get 30 out of him, go for it. TJ sitting right there next to your DSJs and Derrick Roses and guys like that. Again, gotta have goldfish memory, both good and bad. Like Dennis Smith Jr., don't expect a triple-double every game. A couple games back, P.J. Washington dropped 40-plus real points, 60-plus fantasy points, and everybody and their mama curtain called him against the Blazers, and he had single-digit fantasy points. So goldfish memory. Just kind of think what's the ranges of outcomes today, and don't let recency bias be overly impactful of your decision making. If Sabonis is unable to go, Miles Turner could step up here with some shot volume. We know he'll chuck some threes here. I'm not running to him, but he is somebody that would at least get a backhanded boost. I think this spread is close enough for me to think that maybe Vegas thinks Sabonis is a full go. If Sabonis is a full go, I kind of have my eyes on Julius Randle at this price point versus Sabonis, but definitely in a normal world when he is active, he's going to play deep minutes, and he'll be a catalyst in this game, staying competitive. On the Nuggets side, Nikola Jokic. If I get 37 minutes out of Jokic, we definitely know 60-plus fantasy points is something to expect. If we get 60-plus out of him and we have a ton of value today, I'll take the raw points and seesaw my lineups. He hasn't got you less than 60 in 3 games straight, and this season he is yet to face the Pacers. I got no reason against Jokic, and the Denver Nuggets are still pretty short. All things considered, no Millsap, no Gary Harris, no R.J. Hampton. Campazzo's out, JaMychal Green's out. So his team is very, very short benched, and all of the starters are projected for super deep minutes. 37 minutes on Murray, 32.5 on Monte Morris. Will Barton's at 34, so is MPJ. And I got Jokic right up there with Jamal Murray. So those two are not a terrible handcuff either. And we were able to see some decent success from a fantasy standpoint from other teams, point guards and centers against the Pacers. So you saw what Colin Sexton was able to do yesterday. Jamal Murray could put up a high real point game as well. And they're not a crazy handcuff either. Maybe if Jamal Murray had one of those 20, 30 real point games, he's averaging 21 real points on the season, and Jokic did one of his triple-doubles. Like I think you could put them together for a potential chance at 100 fantasy points. Chat, what are you guys thinking here? Any warm and fuzzies? I can't stand Reggie Jackson. He's too cheap on DraftKings. I'll say that. If Kawhi gets rolled out, he's too cheap on DK. No, like crazy takes from this game though, right? If Sabonis was out, you might see a lineup that what do they got? Jakar Sampson. I can't do that. Yeah, I'd probably just stick that. Giuliano Gunn. How did McConnell go down 500 or FanDuel? Looks like a misclick. I think the pricing was probably set before that slate finished. I think pricing is dynamic, but it's not dynamic versus what happened the night before. But again, that Giuliano, what you're saying right there, I think the average casual player probably says the same thing. Well, this guy did this last night, and he went down in price. He's a free square. 10 steals is a little bit ridiculous. So, when the Nuggets actually, they don't turn the ball over that much. If I go to the metrics chart, steals allowed per game. Denver is bottom 10 in steals allowed. So they'll be a little bit more careful with it. So maybe taper your expectations on McConnell's. I still think McConnell gets a shot at 30 fantasy points if he gets 25, 30 minutes. Don't get that twisted. But last night was a little bit of a ceiling game, right? And if he's if he gets 30 fantasy points at that price, you're fine. But keep them pupils dilated. I know I'm late, but McConnell a trap. I don't think he's a trap in terms of price and potential on FanDuel. Like 25, 30 fantasy points is I got him projected at 28. I probably had him projected for 28 yesterday too. So at the price, if you take a shot at 6x, yeah, go for it. But if you're trying to chase a 50, 60 fantasy point performance, maybe hold off, But yeah, if Sabonis were to sit and they stretched out a little bit more, there's still a rotation that has Brogdon as the shooting guard and TJ as the facilitator. If they had to go into that type of lineup, so I don't think I wouldn't have a strong yes or no on McConnell. I'm just trying to push the point that we need to understand last night is probably the greatest game of his career and probably the greatest game that he'll ever have when it comes to peripherals and fantasy, right? That has to. I'm just assuming that's TJ McConnell's greatest game. TJ McConnell, most DKP by game log in his career. Yeah, it was 66 easily his top. He had a couple 50s. Earlier this season, he had a 46. So he's still a guy that's a scrapper at PPM. But last night was a little different. Next game on the docket, Memphis Grizzlies hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. Project starting 5 for the Bucks. Drew Holiday, Dante DiVincenzo, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez taking on Ja Morant. Desmond Bane. I try to come up with a Batman bit right there, but I drew a blank. Dylan Brooks, Kyle, the Andersons got tickets to the game? How'd they get tickets? Jonas Valanciunas, 234 is our total. 6-point spread in favor of the road team, Milwaukee Bucks. 6-point spread, a little bit of respect on the Grizzlies here. Ja Morant in a pace-up spot. Don't mind looking his way. Again, the Grizzlies just kind of give you a big rotation of guys not likely to get 30 minutes. I got Jaws, the only guy projected over 30 minutes, and that could go any which way. Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bain, shooters, Colin Anderson could be a permanent efficient play. But none of these, like if this rotation is going to be this diluted, it's hard to feel warm and fuzzy on these guys not having a glass ceiling in minutes and just kind of becoming fantastic plays. Nonetheless, it is a fast-paced matchup. And if you want to get off against the Bucks, you want to hit some shooters, some guys that chuck threes. Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks, kind of the guys that'll do that. I don't mind some shots at John Morant, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go super mid-tier or Russell Westbrook at point guard. So I might not even have a single Grizzly at the end of the day. Maybe a Desmond Bain shot or two on FanDuel just because he's mid-price. On the Bucks side, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 60-plus fantasy points. You just kind of start with that, right? Think this is a decent spot for him. There's nobody on the Grizzlies matched up size-wise to kind of contend with him. Slow-mo, sure, whatever. Brandon Clark, Jonas Valanciunas. I just think Giannis is in an elite spot. So if we project this game to stay somewhat competitive, 6-point spread kind of gives us that luxury. Then no reason to not have Giannis in the pool. Likely a tier 2 for me, just based on price. Middleton and get a shot at 40+. Drew Holiday's been on a minutes limit. He's not even guaranteed to start. Keep an eye on that. Definitely can't play him on a restriction at 7K. And then off the bench here, maybe a Bobby Portis, but I don't really see a need to go too far deep. It's just, for me, I think it's Giannis at tier 2, and then Middleton at tier 3, and then I'm probably not dabbling too much with anyone else from this game. But Chad, if you got a sneaky play for here, let me know if I'm sleeping on it. What's up? E made it happen. What up? Trill Fate, Shane Alexander made 1775 off of 133 last night. Nice. What's up, James Fanner? McConnell had a trip dub with the Sixers a couple years ago. Nice. I like McConnell as a player. Like, he's a scrappy guy. I'm just kind of, be trepidatious at going after that. I think it's cheap enough that the median range of outcome for McConnell is almost 30 fantasy points in 30 minutes. So I was born in the darkness, Bane. Yeah, that was the bit that I was kind of thinking. But it was like, at one point in this season, Desmond Bain was one of the better three-point shooters in the league. So it was going to be like, you think 3 points your ally. Someone like that. But it's just too long. Gil, what's up, Gil? What was TJ McConnell's ownership in GPP yesterday? No one played McConnell. Like, it was probably less than 5%. But it was just like people that landed on him was like, holy cow, what a click. You could have taken out a lot of money in every contest if you played bigger. Wait, what happened? Oh, Shane, you really made 1775 over $133. Let's go. Attaboy, Shane. I thought that was like a numbers joke. Good stuff, Shane. What's up, Damien? What up, Gunn? You like Winslow or Clark more? Man, maybe Winslow's scoring, but I don't have a deep rooted interest on either. Winslow's coming off a game where he was pretty trendy, but 4,100 pace up, maybe his minutes elongate a little bit, 24, 25, and he'll put up some shots. So maybe Winslow because of that, but I'm not in love, right? The tweets on McConnell last night were hilarious, wreaking havoc. Oh, man. Hey, I feel like I smell something burning. 0.9% in the FanDuel slate for McConnell. Yeah, no one really played him, but it was huge. I don't know how to share your lineup. If you're on a desktop, you could DM me the link and I'd pull it up if you wanna flex on them. Let's get some take, or you can just put it in chat. I don't think it'll kick you for that. 5% is more than I would have thought. Expected 1-2% first price. Yeah, I don't even think he was 5%. I was just saying I think he was under 5%. So him being under 1% looks like it was what actually happened. yeah, there was a lot of juice on the point guard position last night, especially high end and mid tier, like Dennis Schroeder and Jalen Brunson were absorbing a ton of ownership at that position. Giannis or Jokic? That's a great question. I went Giannis over Jokic when Giannis battled Jokic, and Jokic was the better play. Today, I think Giannis, in a competitive game, I think 60 plus for both of them is a reasonable range of outcome. Would be curious to see if anybody can get some comfortable Giannis and Jokic lines on DK, just because of the potential value. But I think, I think if you put them at the same projection, plus minus 5 to 8 fantasy points, I'm not gonna rack my brain on which one I have. More than likely, I put them both as a tier 2, and I'm just gonna multi-entry my way into balanced exposure to both of them, and I'll be a scumbag. Hit those 2 Pistons with triple doubles. Was nuts. Last night was very wild. Very wild. All right, let's move on to the next game here. Miami Heat at the New Orleans Pelicans. Project starting 5 for the Heat. Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy G, Buckets, Kelly Olynyk, Bam Adebayo up against Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Stone Cold Steven Adams. It's going to get 1 board. What? We got 227.5 total. The home team, New Orleans Pelicans, favored by 2 and a hook. Jimmy Butler is questionable, and so is Bam Adebayo. And these are definitely 2 high usage guys that would shake a lot of projections if they were not going to play against one of the worst defenses in all of basketball. Jimmy Butler's dealing with right knee inflammation. He did travel with the Heat to New Orleans for the game, but he's listed as questionable. He's missed the last 2 games, and it looks like he could be ready to give it a go right before the All-Star break. If he's back, look for Kendrick Nunn to take a step back in the rotation, perhaps. And then Bam Adebayo, left knee tendinitis. Based on the injury reports over the last 24 hours, it certainly seems like a lot of teams are being careful heading into the break. If Bam's being held out for the final game before the break, the Heat would likely see what Precious Achiuwa could do with the extended minutes. So, fun rookie to watch if Bam Adebayo doesn't give it a go today. Achiuwa would be bare bones min price on both sides and likely gravitate towards one of the higher owned plays on the slate. It's still just a 2.5 point game, so that does make me think that at least one of Butler and Adebayo is projected to be in terms of what the odds makers were thinking. But if one or the other is out, it definitely creates an amazing next man up opportunity. If Butler is in, he's just in line to be a fine play, right? 9,500, 9,400. We've seen triple doubles out of him, and 50 plus fantasy points is in the wheelhouse. And maybe his ownership stays low just because he's kind of in that awkward no man's land price point, and maybe people are just even more scared to play him because he's been out a couple games. So watch out for that. Also, Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero, back in the mix for the Heat. So they're not that short, but if Adebayo is out, I definitely would look at Achiuwa and Kelly Olynyk to maybe jump higher on some ownership charts than we would have expected them to be as of now. On the Pelican side, Lonzo Ball is an interesting play to me, and I'll tell you why. If we pull up his game log, he chucks a lot of threes. He does. 6-5 in the last 2 games. Slower pace, tougher matchups when it comes to shooting the 3, surprisingly. But 12-10, there's games where he gets to double-digit 3-point attempts. And I like his propensity to chuck the ball quite a bit against the Heat. He went 2 for 8 from 3 against the Heat earlier this season on 23 fantasy points. But I do think he's a fun tournament play to kind of take a second chance on. If we go look at the entire league, the Miami Heat are allowing the second most points via the 3 ball in all of basketball. And if he has one of those double-digit 3-point nights, I think that could be a strong table center for what his peripheral obtainment can get him for fantasy. Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, both guys that are in the mix. Ingram's a little bit cheaper than Zion on both sides. Zion, I kind of want 50 fantasy points out of him at this price, so I don't feel like I'm getting a bargain because I feel like 50 is a little closer to his ceiling than his median. And then, yeah, I don't think I'm running too far into these Pelicans players, but some errant tier 3 shots at a couple of these guys. Yeah, what are you guys doing on this one? Mopar, what up, Gun? Curry versus Lillard at lower price than Vooch against anyone any day of the week. Yeah, I like that. Curry was a great play. Vooch was alright, but Joel Embiid was great. Kelly O'Knight could be. Gun, what's your DM? Are you on Facebook? I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook, but I don't DM me on Facebook. Twitter is the best way. Yeah. Who's your favorite Pelican tonight? Probably Zion. Yeah, probably Zion, but it's not like a snap call. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be Zion. Yeah, probably Zion, but it's not a snap call. Lonzo's there too, like I said, but it's gonna be dependent on chucking some threes. I'm sorry, someone's knocking at my door. Eric Bledsoe's just sitting there too at 5,400, huh? He's not. He's not going to be super sneaky for threes, is he? 4, 2, 5, 10, maybe. Last game against the Heat, dropped 16. That's something I'm in love with, but yeah. So sick of winning. I can't do anything wrong. I love my life. Okay, buddy. Bledsoe's been on fire. I'm writing that for a bit. Okay. Maybe with JJ Redick being iffy here and there, Bledsoe surprises some people, but nothing I'm going to go crazy with. Moving on to the next game here. I didn't know quite what to do with the Thunder, so I kind of left them dry right now. But it is the Thunder at the San Antonio Spurs. Project starting 5 for the Thunder. Theo Maledon, SGA, Lou Dort, Darius Baisley, Al Horford. Maybe he's a rest candidate up against Dejounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, DeMar DeRozan, Trey Lyles, and Jakob Poeltl. Saw a report earlier today that the Spurs have been getting some phone calls about several of their players, including Trey Lyles, Aldridge, guys like that. I got Aldridge, Rudy Gay, Devin Vassell, and Derek White still out. Dejounte Murray, DeMar DeRozan, probably the two guys we want to look at first if you want to click some names from the Spurs. And then you might get some deep minutes out of Trey Lyles. And then Jakob Poeltl is an intriguing play to me. Probably a little bit more intriguing if Horford does sit this one. If Horford does sit, you might see Isaiah Roby kind of gravitate up as a great value play on FanDuel and a solid play on DraftKings. He's been a point per minute type of potential guy. And then if you're a fan of DVP, we've seen some strong point guard games against the Spurs. So Maledon and SGA might surprise you. 9K for SGA on DraftKings is so hard to get to. But 8,200, I feel like there's still a little bit of meat on the bone and a little less of a nervousness when you click that price point. And then Maledon, I think at 4,200 could be extremely interesting as a value point guard. But Isaiah Roby could be borderline core if Horford ended up resting. Josh says Super Draft's the hardest site out right now. It's impossible. Is that the one with the multipliers? I thought it was all right. Like, I tried it, but I wasn't in love with it. Like his dual eligibility over Ball. Redick has been solid value. JJ Redick, yeah. JJ Redick is questionable, so keep an eye on that. Am I not Poeltl enough for the Poeltl Club? I'm sleep. Dog, I'm telling you, no caffeine, man. I don't know. I'm like water. No caffeine, no coffee, no bang. So it's a tough life. It's a tough life. Matter of fact, I might tell her to jump on that. Make sure I get something going before the before the voice chat for the VIP. Keldon Johnson did play last game. They kept him off the bench, working on his conditioning. We'll see if they keep working on that conditioning here and leave him off the bench again. Again, like I said, Dejounte and DeMar DeRozan Could easily be two guys dropping 45 fantasy points here. We've seen 50 plus out of both of them as well. I do think the Oklahoma City Thunder pace is going to be a little bit more neutral. But if you want some Murray, you want some DeRozan, that makes sense to me. Lonnie Walker's not that super cheap, so I'm not running to play him. SGA did drop his only 60 bomb on the Spurs. Yeah, the Spurs against guards is with no bang killing us, killing y'all. I'm killing you, Giuliano. What do you think I feel? It's all right. I'm gonna stock up. Can't share your line. Shane, did you send me a message on Twitter? Choo. Anybody play that promo on PrizePicks last night with the Damian Lillard stuff? I don't see any new DMs here. Okay, we don't need to talk about this. I don't know what happened for the Phillies to score 15. Hold up. What? It doesn't. Spring training doesn't count. Is Lonzo a tier 1 candidate? No. PPD. Wait, did that game get PPD? Spurs give it up to guards and will make you say give you some more. Yeah, I like that. Why'd you say PPD, Damien? Don't scare me. Let me pull up the Discord. I don't see any news like that. Oh, you mean points per dollar? Don't scare me. You mean points per dollar, not all right. Not postponed. Phoenix Suns hosting the Golden State Warriors. It's about to get weird. Golden State's projected starting 5. Michael Mulder, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, Eric Pascal, Kevin Looney taking on Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and DeAndre Ayton. We got a 221 total, 11.5 point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns. The Warriors will be without Steph Curry and Draymond Green. They didn't even travel, and Kelly Oubre was out last night. Questionable here in a revenge spot. This is a near impossible spot for me to point at a Warriors guy and feel great. You definitely feel like it's a next man up opportunity for somebody to be a great fantasy play, but then you put him at Phoenix against this Phoenix Suns defense, and I'm starting to wonder if even 7K Oubre makes me feel great. And if Oubre doesn't play, like, are we really trusting Wiggins to be great? I don't know. So this is the most annoying game on the slate. Kent Bazemore drew the start last night in lieu of Oubre, and then with Curry out, Michael Mulder might start. Brad Wanamaker does have some veteran years under him as an NBA point guard. Maybe he is worth a shot at 3,900, 3K on FanDuel and DraftKings respectively. And then we've seen, in the absence of Draymond Green, we've seen Eric Pascal float up to be chalk and trendy and then bust, and then Juan Toscano Anderson's the better play. Every now and then there is a game where Pascal gets there, and maybe just the minutes will just be deep enough for him here. But I don't have a tell. Like, there's not one guy in the Warriors lineup right now that I'm like, yeah, I feel great playing him in this matchup, knowing who's out. Like, I just don't. So I would love to know where you guys are going on the Warriors, and if you guys feel super confident, because this is the one game that makes this whole slate a headache for me. On the Suns side, Chris Paul, it's hard for me to like any of these Suns because I do kind of believe in the blowout here. Chris Paul has been a guy I do like in competitive games. We've seen 50-plus fantasy point potential from him, potential triple-doubles. If you thought that this sleeper Warriors team got slept on and the Suns come out flat and they keep it close, Chris Paul could be a solid 40-plus fantasy point play. Devin Booker was recently ejected. He's got some extra shots in him hanging over from that Lakers game. In that Lakers game, he got ejected and he still led the team in fantasy points. It was ridiculous in 24 minutes. 34 fantasy points. So if he's going to stay hot, chuck his shot, if you get 30 minutes out of him against this matchup, he might be a 40-plus fantasy point play. And then I'm just not running to Crowder, Ayton, any of these guys. This is the most annoying game on the slate for me. What are you guys doing with this one? Josh says they're going to give Nico Mannion and Jordan Poole some run. Yeah, I'm sure. Wiseman's going to play 30-plus minutes and a lot of usage. I don't mind that call, right, Josh? I think that's a solid call. I think no matter what the score is, you have an opportunity to get your top draft pick some reps. And we saw it earlier this season, James Wiseman on the court opposite of Steph Curry. There were some big bursts out of him. So I actually don't hate that call. 4,500 on Wiseman on FanDuel, 4,200 on DraftKings. Could he shock us with a 30-plus for tournaments? I'm with it. I'm with that. Julian says, what did Wiggins use this with Draymond and Curry out? So, yeah, it's fair that we run that. Let's go to the on-off court tool via honk. The one honk. You guys know what that is. When the Cadillac pulls up and he honks once, you look through the window curtain. If he honks twice, you don't check the door. These are the rules. What are we doing? We're taking off Curry and Draymond. And let's just leave that as it is. What happens? Who leads? 30% usage on Andrew Wiggins, and that's with potentially Oubre in the mix, and then 30% on Wiseman. 90 minutes on that one, under a fantasy point per minute. Michael Mulder, 1.3 fantasy point per minute. All right, let's put Wiggins on here just to kind of isolate the situation a little bit more. 29.8% usage rate. Pascal's at a 25%. Am I sleeping on Eric Pascal? No one's really blowing fantasy point per minute out of the water. Doesn't really change my approach here. Wiggins might get a date with McCall Bridges. It's yucky for me. Did Kyle Lowry get the over or under an assist yesterday? And Raj owes me 100 because Brunson got out for 22. He can sell me. Raj still tried to victory lap Brunson last night. And I was like, bro, 27 at 5K. It was fine. Raj did lose the 10-game head-to-head series with Chronic, though. So he's got to hold that L. And just like Raj, if he holds an L, he no-show stream. It is what it is. Suns should smoke the Warriors without Green and Curry. They absolutely should. And if you did play for, the blowout, maybe a Dario Saric or Frank Kaminsky or somebody like that. I mean, this game's a headache. We have one game left on the docket, man. We flew through this one. I'm not going to plug the VIP because there's only one. It's only today, and then there's a break, and I don't want you guys to feel like you're getting cheated. But we do have the All-Star to All-Star break, I guess, so I guess you could still get that and not get cheated. If you guys want to lock in until the baseball All-Star break in July, that passes up. We did have the week pass listed at $10 from yesterday. So if you guys want to hop in for this nightmare, go for it. We do have some NASCAR this week. But other than that, just check out the All-Star to All-Star break pass. And I can officially announce now our buddy Russ Miller, who binked the 100K a couple days ago, longtime Viper at RunDFS.com, part of the six-figure club now. He did sponsor 10 month passes to give away. And I think the spirit of this sponsorship from him is to try and get cats that have never had a VIP before, right? To kind of maybe grow the love of the game a little bit more, and maybe grow the process, people's processes. So we're gonna come up with some ways to give out those 10 passes. We've done this before. Rich has sponsored some month passes in the past, and we've given those away just from like retweets and stuff like that. So with 10 of them, we'll come up with some creative ways. So shout out to Russ, first of all. He's a real one. And then, I'll brainstorm some ways. So if you guys have never been VIP, or if you've always been on the fence or something like that, kind of look out for updates on that. And that'll be stuff that we start doing when we come back from the break. A lot of it would just be rewards just through the YouTube channel. But we might get crazy and throw one or two of them out on Twitter or something like that. But that's coming. That's in the works. And then, of course, if you guys know about PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com, use code GUNDACKER. They will match your initial deposit up to $100. No questions asked. It's a great way to further reward your daily fantasy research, diversify your daily spend as we maximize that. Look at this. Whoa, that's cool. I'm easily entertained. If you guys want to prop bet, parlay bet on your DFS research, players that should get really, really big boost today and specifically with a lot of ins and outs. They might have some softer lines on PrizePicks. I've said it before. They adjust to the news much slower than sportsbooks will. So go add that to your DFS daily spend. It's a fun site. Code GUNDACKER when you sign up, and they will instantly match your initial deposit up to $100. So $10 is $20, $20, $40, $100, $200, and you could flip that. You can get some 10x ROI cards and make a lot of money, honey. Bam. Give away a free puppy from a local shelter. I've been in the VIP club. So if you've ever had VIP, you're not disqualified. It's just, I think Russ is trying to, give some new blood opportunity to wonder, or not even know. I don't know. That was the spirit of it. So it'll be fair. Like it's not going to be. You won't be disqualified if you have been VIP before. Sentagon, you sent me your lineup on Twitter. All right, sure, Shane. Let's celebrate, guys. Whenever guys do really, really well here, in their regulars in the chat, I love celebrating them. So let me go check my DMs on Twitter. I have a lot of DMs today, by the way. So if you DM me earlier, my bad if I didn't reply. I'll try and get you guys replied to. All right, let's pull this on the main screen here. Shane. In the message requests folder. So this is Shane. Shane said he turned $130 something into over $1,000, or he said 1775. So yes, sir. You played T.J. McConnell, 71, John Wall, Terrence Ross, James Harden, Norman Powell, Gallinari, Porzingis. Okay, nice. Attaboy, Shane. Let's go, Shane. Good work, Shane. Good work. Celebrate the win. Good stuff. Man, I've been so waiting for the All-Star break. When you do this full-time, I anticipate a day where I can finally relax, not think about fantasy. Mopar, it is wild, man. I get normal year. Last year's different because of COVID, but when you partake this as a full-time job, man, it's the NBA All-Star break and it's the MLB All-Star break. And really the NBA All-Star break, I don't get as much stuff off as I do for MLB. MLB, there's really not other sports. During NBA, I still get the itch to I gotta revamp, recode, rebuild stuff, and then there's still hockey, there's still NASCAR, there's stuff like that. During the baseball All-Star break, there's usually nothing. And that's the real week off, right? Ready for this break, too. Going to spend some time with my 7-year-old son this week. Let's go, Mark. Family time. Definitely important. It's been a rough effing year. So use this break to enjoy the people that make life worth living for. Main event tonight, Sacramento Kings at the Portland Trail Blazers. Project 35 for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley, Rashawn Holmes taking on Damian Lillard, Dame Dalla, Gary Trent, Derek Jones Jr., Robert Covington, and they hate us because they hate us. Cantor. We got 237.5 total with a 4.5 point spread in favor of the Portland Trail Blazers. This game should be really, really lucrative for fantasy. If we go check out the defensive rating in the team metrics tab, The Sacramento Kings and the Portland Trailblazers have two of the bottom 3 defensive efficiencies in all of basketball, which means this game should shoot all the way out. So Damian Lillard at 10-1, 11K on both sides should still be able to be a 50-60 fantasy point play. Cantor's in a great spot. Robert Covington's put together some big minute games lately, playing some backup center. Keep an eye on him for sure. I think he's been a great play at this price point. Gary Trent's a chucker. There's not a lot of guys on the Blazers that I have at 28 or more minutes that I wouldn't play. Like I think Dame, Trent, Rocco, Cantor are all playable, and I even think Carmelo Anthony could make a player pool. On the Kings side, if Jabari Parker and Hassan Whiteside end up out, and they did. Looking at the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, we have Buddy Hield questionable. That would be massive. Hassan Whiteside rolled out and Jabari Parker rolled out. So with those guys out, we can keep those minutes on Bagley and Rashawn Holmes. And then with Buddy Hield questionable now, that makes it really, really, really interesting because Tyrese Halliburton is already out. And De'Aaron Fox might have to co-start with Corey Joseph. Oh, man. And De'Aaron Fox might play 40 minutes. So, yeah, I think Fox could be knocking on the door of a tier 1 no matter what. And if Hield, just being questionable the game before the All-Star break, that's a problem. So give me Fox, and then Harrison Barnes might play 40 minutes. Bagley and Holmes 30 minutes, chipping a chair for point per minute plus. Fox and Barnes could be tier 1 at their price points. And then, yeah, I think this game is probably the most stackable game on the slate that I feel great about because I have my fancy metrics to love and support it. Chat, what are you doing with this one? And that's it. Can we look at some Melo? Absolutely. I definitely think Melo's also thriving from Rocco playing some more backup big. Encore says the gambler in me doesn't want a break, but it would be nice to get a break, do some NHL in the meantime. Yeah, I like last night. I've seen some comments. I'm not gonna call them out, but I did get a concerning comment. People just getting discouraged and they give up. Slates like last night are just so chaotic and they happen. But it would be a great mental break for a lot of people that have been grinding daily and just don't know how to take slates off. And I definitely encourage you guys to do that. Give yourself a mental break. But also, when you come back, remember to pick your battles. Don't feel forced to play every slate. Don't feel forced to play every 10-game slate. If you still want some action, chop it down. Go find a tiers. Go find a turbo slate. Go find a showdown. Single game. Make an edge where there isn't an edge. Or get into a market where there isn't tons of content for or tons of mass century sharks in it. And find a way to enjoy it. Even if you're not playing for $100K, but rather $100, $500, something like that. Like if you have a passion for DFS, but hate losing, well, change something. I'll be playing plenty of Warzone during the break. Okay, Maury. Any of you guys play Fortnite? Like, I'm running out of Fortnite teammates to play with. So if you guys are NA East, hit me up on Twitter. I could definitely put together some Fortnite crew. I play with my girlfriend a lot, but I'm just saying, like, it'd be cool to meet some of you guys through some Fortnite games. Was about to bet Blazers minus 2.5 first half, and it got taken down. Oh, Luke Walton's one of the worst coaches ever. I do agree. Last Sunday of NFL season, I hit 3 NFL showdowns. Gave me a great start to NBA season. See, I read a tweet one day. I forget who it was. I think it was Osmo. I think somebody had asked Osmo for like advice, and he was just like, focus on single games. And I don't want to give him too much credit if that wasn't him, but I'm pretty sure it was him. And it makes so much sense, right? Focus on the if you're new and you're just trying to grow as a game theory artist or whatever, focus on games that have a more finite, controlled range of outcome that you can attack. Like a single game, you probably can make 8-player pools and then kind of rank them like that. Showdowns, I think, are a really, really fun way to play DFS. More fun than I thought it was going to be when they first came out. When the concept of Showdowns came out, I was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But I like the Showdown. I also like the FanDuel version where they have several different multiplier positions. So shake it up. So, right, be careful to pick and choose your battles wisely because in cash games, a lot of sharks out there for sure. Barnes, tier 1, yup. Tiers is good for taking a break also. I agree with that. Matter of fact, I looked at tiers earlier today, and I think on a slate like today where guys are dropping like flies, some of these tiers are becoming a lot more best of 3, best of 4. Like tier 1 has Steph Curry, and then it's Jokic, Giannis, and Lillard. And don't get me wrong, that's an impossible one to pick, but now you have a 33% chance of getting that one right, just off the top, right? Yeah, that is it, chat. This will be the last live stream officially for NBA until we come back on the other side of the All-Star break. Hoping that this little week-long vacation will afford me opportunities to pre-package some more conceptual content. We have discussed the night show potentially. Definitely want to market test that and see if it's worth exploring and pushing. So any of you guys that are up at night that wouldn't mind like a wind down show and maybe a light preview show for the next day, maybe look for that. I've definitely put out some feelers. We have baseball on the horizon, so expect some baseball content. I don't know if we're going to do live streams for baseball since baseball just never gets clicks, no matter. I think that's the sport I know the most about, and people just don't care about baseball. So I don't know if we're going to get live streams for that, but I'll definitely try and get the content back for that. Just have to come up with a groove, schedule for that. But we will be holding strong on these midday NBA streams. But we, definitely looking for more and more ways to grow the channel while being balanced in terms of my work and not getting burned out, right? I can teach you how to play better Fortnite gun, but you must pay me in Red Lobster gift cards for your secrets. Mopar, hold up, Mopar. Don't come out here and disrespect me on Fortnite, bro. Fortnite's fun. I love Fortnite, but I only play team modes on Fortnite. Like I barely play solos or whatever. So when I don't have people to play with other than just my girl, is what it is. The other night I got my 1700th win on Fortnite, and so far this season I have a 4.71 KD in team modes with a 29% win rate. So, I'm doing all right for a boomer, but it is what it is. But also when you purchase stuff in the item shop, use code GUNDACKER. Show some love. Chad, is that it? You guys got any questions, comments, concerns about the slate? Anything on your mind? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up here. If you guys are on Twitter during the break, you can reach out to me, twitter.com/Gundacker. DMs open. If you guys do want to hang out with me, you missed me during the break, I'll be on Twitch, twitch.tv/Gundacker99 as an Aaron Judge. Otherwise, I'm here for a little bit. But I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP voice chat following the stream, chopping up the slate, reacting to news as it drops, and trying to carve out a player pool. If you're Hawaii, watch out. 8.1 earthquake just now. Tsunami headed your way. Oh, no. Do I know anybody in Hawaii? I don't think I do, but that sucks. Stay safe, Hawaii. I gotta get some bang. I gotta get some coffee. I appreciate you guys making part of my day be part of your day. I'll see you guys on the other side of the All-Star break. Be safe out there. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your loved ones. Refresh, recharge, and just enjoy a life for a little bit. Smell the roses. Look at the skies. Look at the stars. And when we come back, it's full-on grind. NBA, baseball, you know how we do. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.